So I've ordered no tea since February 18th, and here it is mid-May. So it's been 3 months since I've ordered tea. And I finally placed one, and I'm anxious for it to get here. Here's my tea from, I think it was December. I still have this much left. And my tea from February, I have the same amount left. I do have these 3 club packets left, but I'm getting low on tea. So here's today's tasting, Yesheng Hong Cha. I've done my initial aroma smell, and it smells wonderful. And so now is my first glimpse out of the bag. That's so fun. And look how rich and deep and black it is. It's just very uniform. Every week I think I'm going to be having tea outside from the garden, but it's like 55 degrees out today. It's just too cold to go have tea outside yet. It's coming though. So black and beautiful. So I've separated some out on the handkerchief so we can see it. And there are a variety of sizes, or lengths I should say. They're all rolled about the same. There's still, even though like there's 2 long ones and 2 shorter ones, there's still a lot of consistency. And there's the color. Got hummingbirds visiting me today, and this one cardinal. My husband hasn't put out food. It's like he's begging, please bring me food. Tea tastings with the birds. Look at the fern underneath. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know if you can see it, but when you put it up against a dark fabric, I've seen this before, it's kind of like done a oily sheen is the best word. It's a sheen on the top of the liqueur. It's kind of cool, kind of shimmery. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but I think it's cool. Tea with the hummingbirds. So iridescent, that's the word I'm looking for. There's a iridescent quality to it. Here's the wet leaves. Here are my tasting notes for this Yesheng Hong Cha. And I looked it up on BabbleCarp, and it says it's wild or undomesticated tea. So I put it's wild because that's kind of fun that it's wild. As in Mushishan, or I never can say this one. I need to learn how to say it, but that's another county that I've come across before. So this was a tea sent to me by the Tea Club. That is the date I tasted it. Yep, Hong Cha is a red tea in China, but in the Western world, it's a black tea. Its harvest location is this Tanmuguan, and I don't say these right, so I'm not a professional. Wushishan, Fujian province of China. Wushishan, if you'll remember from the last video, see, I'm learning this stuff, is Shan means mountains, so it's the Wuyi Mountains in Fujian. Harvest time, April of 2020. So this tea is just about a year old. And this is the cultivar, and I think that's important. The Xing, I'm not even going to try to say it, but this is the cultivar, and it's the same cultivar as the Jin Junmei that we had last week. This is not the same as the purple tea mentioned below, so that's significant to me as I'm learning. So it's not a purple tea, although Yesheng is commonly used term for purple tea. We'll see more of that later. So here's how on Google Maps it is a mountain peak. So I find that often where they put words together and then they're separated in other places when I see them online. So Tongmuguan, I'm assuming, and it is located right here, so you can see it is definitely a mountain peak. You see this line going through there, and I think that's cool. Wuyi Mountain Nature Preserve. I love nature preserves. So you can actually see the mountains on the topographical of Google Maps. And then here it is located in this Fujian County. How it's processed, I'm not sure. It seems like Roy told us and I didn't quite pick up on it. But of course, for a black tea, it's fully oxidized and we saw how black the leaves were. These plants, Roy said this in the chat, are wild, but they're not really wild because they're maintained. And they're spaced further apart than if they were out in the wild. So I think I typed those words as he said them. So they're wild, but not really because they're maintained. So on Reddit, I found this was important, I think. There's no standardized definition for wild tea in China. The term is used almost exclusively for marketing. So there are trees that would be considered wild, but it's not a single species. Also, purple tea can come from wild plants, but not all wild plants are purple. Aha, cha-ching! So this is a wild plant, but it's not purple. From Yunnan sourcing, I saw original purple tea is called wild purple or Yesheng purple tea. The varietal is referred to as this is the variety or the cultivar of the purple tea. And so you look at that and you go back up here and you see this cultivar here. They are different. So this tea is not a purple tea, even though it's called a Yesheng. So if you hear the word Yesheng, just don't automatically assume it's a purple tea because this is the variety that the purple tea comes from. So it says Yesheng tea is very bitter when young, but ages quickly. That does not really describe this tea. So we're going to skip on, but that's key to learning about Yesheng. From the steepingroom.com, they had one,
and they said it was abundantly fragrant with a distinct fruitiness and sweetness. Yesheng teas can often have very purple flowers and uh, and fruits thing going on. So I searched the internet for these purple tea flowers in purple tea, and I could not find them. I wanted to see what the flowers look like because I was wondering why Yesheng was called purple. Apparently, some of them have purple flowers that grow in the wild. I don't know. I'm learning. I searched the internet, couldn't find that. The color on this spectrum is nutmeg. It's right here. This is the spectrum I made up from light to dark, and it works pretty well. I need to tweak it right in here a little bit, maybe where this nutmeg is, because I think this nutmeg, it's a great color, but um, it I need one that's another one in there is just a little bit more red, or actually it's nutmeg, but it's more saturated. This one's a bit desaturated. Need to tweak that a little bit, but that's the color. Aroma flavors. So this first part I actually did before the chat on the Saturday before the chat, and then it's always fun then to go to the chat and see what other people think. My first thought out of my mind was earthy when I smelt the dry. And then the second thought was fruit. And I was like, yes, fruit, 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 fruit. And then I couldn't get anything out of my mind but fruit. And the dry aroma smelled so good. And so earthy and fruity are two of my favorite scents. So I was just like, yes. And I had said, I'm not sure what fruit though. And then I added this during the chat. Maybe it's lychee, which is a fruit that only grows in China because several other people said it was lychee, and I've heard about lychee before. I've not quite like got it down because it only grows in China, and I'm not able to go to the grocery store and grab it and eat it to know exactly what it is, to identify it and compare it to the tea. But I'm pretty sure since all I got was fruit, that they were correct. I'm pretty sure that this has to be the lychee that's coming through. And then I got this from the internet. Some people say I should correct that to be more specific. Lychee tastes like a grape with a hint of rose. I'm trying to imagine that combination because I know what both of those are like, while others claim it tastes more like pear and watermelon. Now, I didn't get, I don't know, I didn't get pear and watermelon. Um, I'm trying to reflect. You know what? I could go to the store and get some pear and watermelon and put them together. I don't know as if I've ever done that before. And I could go get some grapes and some, I don't know how you get hint of rose. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about that. So then with the wet, when it became wet, it added layers of floral and a layer of toasted, definitely toasted, came out. And so toasted is under the bakery and spice category. And I really, really enjoyed how it smelled. And it should be noted that toasted that I got is like toast on a bread, as opposed to roast, which is that caramelization on meat and veggies that you bake in the oven. So the floral may come from the hint of rose and the lychee. So it's like, yes, it's all kind of coming together. I got a little bit, just a hint of floral, just not much. And so that had to come from that floral. It has to be that grape and rose, the lychee. And then the toasted. So the chat group suggested sweet pastry dough before it is baked, like a dough for a croissant. Now, I know what that smells like, and I didn't get that. All I got was toasted, but I was kind of excited that we did get the same thing because I got the toasted, which is in the bakery category, and they got the dough, which is in the bakery category. One is cooked and one is not. So we were on the same path, and so I was kind of excited about that we were on the same path. I like confirmation that what I'm smelling and thinking is correct. And so I think I agreed from the most part with the group because they were talking lychee and dough, and I was talking fruity and toasted. Um, Body was very light, and I actually have 5 categories of body, and I decided I'm going to redo my graphics, and I'm going to change that to 3 categories because I've never had the upper 2 categories of body. Astringency, I got it in the bright light, very light though, but it was not smooth. So it was very on the low end of this bright light category. Smooth is the one below this one, and it wasn't smooth, but it was very nice, very light. Taste was the fruity, which I'm assuming is lychee, and earthy, and it tasted just like it smelled, which is great. It's always a sign of a good quality if it tastes like it smells. Very nice. Nothing standing out unique. That, I think, describes it pretty well too. But it was solidly very nice to drink. Um, I had brewed it a little too long and it did not get astringent. However, it did get bitter. And I said, well, this is a good learning experience to differentiate between astringent and bitter. I can handle this bitterness it was almost like a peppery bitterness. It got peppery when I steeped it too long, but that was it. Bitter to me. Um, so I did not get as many steeps out of this tea, however, as I do in a lot of other teas. Uh, that's something I always note. I like it when it's cost effective and I can get like 15 to or more steeps out of just the leaves. These I got a significant amount between 6 and 10, which is probably about average, but so not bad at all, just not like some of the others I've had that I now wish all of them were like. Finish, definitely juicy and mouth-watering. There was no lingering finish, but it was juicy. Uh, yeah, so a lot of times the smell and the taste and the finish, I get the same kind of flavor throughout them all, but this had no flavor in the finish. It was just juicy, which is nice, kind of fun. I gave it 5 hearts. I would certainly drink this as an everyday tea. I would not be afraid to make it for a party, as I think it is a tea most people would like. So that would be like something I'd want to have around, something that is friendly for everybody to drink. And Roy, who runs this group, indicated that this one is specifically very unique and he's not sure he can find it again. So even though I keep it on hand, it's kind of going to be kind of impossible to do that because you can't really find it again. But I would. I like this tea. Hope you've enjoyed the review.